on the air. All right, this is Right Knowledge Radio with your host, Mudhutha, Nudimmud, Kahagadu El. Um, I'm the president, the minister. I'm also an HTM and a high priest in the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek. And on the line, we got another brother who's in the nation. Um, he is the Minister of Education for the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors, the Grand Minister of the HTM. He also is the head of our um, HTM University, where he's teaching young students the ways of Nuwabu, uh, basic to all the way to advanced. And he's also the high priest of the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek. And this is brother Netyerkhet Zoser El. Brother, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing fine, good brother. How are you doing today? Greetings to all the people out there in
I'm
the
doing
world, Raw
good.
Back, Hotel, Tube, all the good stuff.
Yep. And we bring Right Knowledge Radio back, from the other gentleman who used to run it. But he was a self-appointed president, which is illegal in United Nuwabian Nation of Moors, if you read the Constitution. And so we continued on without the brother. So um, today in the Gregorian calendar, what is it? It is April 25th, 2021. And the Nuwabic date is Sanu Tamadin Kubad Sutuk, month Sutuk, Usbu Waha, which is the first week, and Utash Nudima, the fifth day. So we're in our spring months, I believe. Yeah, we're in the spring now. So the light's starting to come out, the flowers starting to bloom, grow your oranges, your grapes, tomatoes, potatoes, and moringa plants and all that good stuff. And Netyerkhet, let's let the people know what we're gonna talk about today. So today, my good people, we're gonna talk about Brother Netyerkhet's journey in Nuwabu. Kind of how he started and what he's doing today. Um, we do want to get into um, his adventures and his meetings in Athens. Uh, what the Nuwabians that they switched it from a B to a P back then before they named themselves the Sabaens. And then the brother Netyerkhet's gonna touch upon the stuff that he wants to touch upon after that, as far as a message from what scroll was it again?
Nibiru Anunnaki Fact of
Nibiru
Fiction.
fact, Nibiru Anunnaki
Nibiru
fact or fiction.
Anunnaki.
Okay. And then I'm gonna talk about some things after that, as far as our dealings with two of the olders. And I really got a question for people who not just join our organization, but join the Nation of Islam, the Sabian Nation, or Moorish tribes around what they're calling the United States, which is Turtle Island. Um, are these people able to teach the youth? That's a big question for those who say that they're Nuwabians but cannot prove it, or we just don't hear it in their speech that they're Nuwabians. They don't really say anything Nuwabu. They're quoting Bible scriptures constantly, and um, and saying that they're being visited by beings, but there's no evidence on the physical plane. Not saying that there needs to be evidence, but there needs to be something. If you think you're a special person, you're supposed to influence others. We need to. There has to be some kind of evidence, right? If evidence, experience, and reason is the ways of Nuwabu, and if you can't prove none of those three, um, then we have a problem with that. And also another thing I want to touch upon is plagiarism. Uh, People say that we're plagiarizing Dr. York's books, but there are many people copying Dr. York's books. So I don't really understand his claim. And do they really know what they're talking about when they say plagiarism? We're going to go over the definition of plagiarism. So I know that's a mouthful right there. For all the Nuwabians in the world, peace, hotel, Hentu. We're about to get into this. So brother Netyerkhet, tell us how you got started in the Nuwabu, man. Just kind of walk us down that path.
Well, I had I had just graduated from high school. It was 1997. It was in the summer, and I was in one of the
Hmm.
neighborhoods in Greenville. It's called City Heights, and it was brothers. It was brothers all
Hmm.
over Greenville that studied Nuwabu. But at this time, I was a Muslim. I took Shahada at the age of 13,
Oh,
so
okay.
I was building on. I had some form of cultural something other than Christianity. So when the Wabu hit in '97,
Okay.
and we was building, and we reading books, and building, trying to tell everybody about the knowledge, and didn't nobody really want to hear it, but we still tried and tried to put the knowledge out there. Then the brothers that had the bookstore here in Greenville, they left and went back to Eatonton, and so we was kind of left with no teachers. So years passed, and around, I say around 2006, 7, around that time, I joined. My zero time reference is 2007. So I joined in 2007 the AEO under the groups
Okay.
in Athens. Tashaka Malik was the Supreme Grand Master at this time. I was dealing with a chamber in Spartanburg under Tashaka
Okay.
Malik's mirror in Savannah. And I was going back and forth to the meetings in Athens
Okay.
twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, for the readings and the updates. And man, they kept, it was like two, every 1, 2, 3 weeks, on occasions, like randomly, those numbers,
Hmm.
the language would change, scripts would change. I'm like, what's going on? The master teacher can't make up his mind what he want the language to be. And I know it's changed way more times than the 3 years that I dealt with the brothers and sisters in Athens. You know what I'm saying? And then
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
so these brothers
Now
and sisters
Tashaka
that,
Malik.
go ahead.
Oh, my bad. But I wanted to say Tashaka Malik. I went to their website, like what am I trying to say? The Masonic Lodge, like the Blue Lodge or whatever. And I seen a picture of the brother Tashaka Malik. I think he's still part of the lodge.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Hmm.
Yeah. But so
Yep.
yeah, that's
Yep.
pretty much. I mean, when I was in Athens, it was they just continuously asked for money, and it was like when I read that Malkuzet scroll, the guidance of the master, that first one that came out after Dr. York got locked up, it turned me totally away
Hmm.
from those brothers. I did not leave Nuwabu, but I left dealing with them because there was some stuff in that book that was said about Geb and Nut. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna publicly say this because it's a disgrace to
Right.
Sister Nut. It's really a disgrace to
Hmm.
Nut, Nut, and Netyerkhet Geb to have to do
Hmm.
something like that. I'm not gonna publicly say it, but if you've read that scroll, you know what I'm talking about. And if you heard anything about the Mouth Kuzet, what they call liquid gold, it's all in that scroll. You know what I'm saying? And with that kind of stuff, you making it look like Dr. York really did
Okay.
do what they're saying he did, with scrolls like that coming out,
He,
sexual
yeah, because it was
endeavors. Go ahead, bro.
yeah, sexual innuendos, overtones. Yeah, of what what they accused him of at first, before it went federal with the RICO. He was accused of molestation, things that had to do with sex. Why would you put a book out right when he got locked up around that same time talking about the liquid gold?
Yeah,
Talking about what it is. I'm not going to repeat it either because I think it's disgusting. And that's definitely not Nuwabu. That might be Wu Nuwabu or
Wu
Sabianism, but
Sabat.
that's not Nuwabu or Yeah, Wu Sabat. Yeah, that's the new name for it now. They keep changing names. So
Yeah,
I mean, that's a whole
And
topic in itself. Keep changing the name, but but that Moff Cruzette stuff is nah, I agree with you.
yeah, but on the side of that Mob Cruzette stuff, I
I
have a
definitely agree.
message here from the master teacher in the scroll Nibiru and the Anunnaki Fact of Fiction on the last page, page 116, the last paragraph. And I'm gonna read this. And if you don't trust that this is what's being said, you can get the book yourself and find the last paragraph, and it says it right here. Everything that I said years ago is confirming itself. Now, all of these things are becoming a reality to you because it is beginning to happen to you. But still, I'll be called a nut. And with the holy tablets that was revealed to me for you, they are going to foolishly turn away from it, the middle path. That's the last page in the Biru Anunnaki Fact of
Mm,
Fiction. So why? I asked this question. Why would the master teacher make a statement like
mm-hmm.
that back in what year was the scroll written? I think the year's on it. No, the year's not on it. Had
Like
it been around
like
not between
96.
95 and 97, the scroll was written. He made a statement about people
Mm-hmm.
foolishly turning away from the holy tablets and these whatever they call Sabaens or Nepatans or whatever they calling themselves. Now, I don't know, Moonwapu or whatever it is. How could the master teacher make a statement about putting the
Mm-hmm.
holy tablets down when he said you was gonna foolishly turn away from it back in the 90s?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
something for
Them
everyone
dudes,
to
they didn't
think
even make
on.
an effort. Oh yes, brother. Oh yes. Tua, Tua.
They didn't make an
Um,
effort to what, good brother?
no way. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But
They
how could yeah, how could you turn away from a book like the Holy Tablets? That book is thousands of years old, man. Just because it
yeah,
came out now, the information that was in it goes back damn near about 10,000 years.
probably back
Especially when you
further than
talk
that,
about the
man.
Sumerian. Yeah. So I'm like, why would brothers and sisters say, "Oh, stop reading the Holy Tablets. Stop reading it." Now,
And
I
how can
did
you
see
call it
a
old?
video. Yeah. Old and irrelevant. They mean old as in, oh, it's old is not relevant information. But I'm like, that's like saying, well, we all came from something that was old. You know what I'm saying? The physical presence of you on this physical plane of existence proved because he said if you exist, your ancestors exist. So your ancestors, are they not relevant because they old?
Hey man, that's
If you use right reasoning and nine reasoning, that don't make sense.
mm-mm.
Yeah, it
No,
just
it does
don't
not.
make sense. And I want to say publicly that the brother on the line today raised me up in Nuwabu. You know what I'm saying? He raised me up in Nuwabu. He raised me up by the letter. You know what I'm saying? We didn't deviate from the rules and laws at all. We are like, for a lack of a better term, we're fundamentals. We stick to the fundamentals of Nuwabu. We don't stray from that. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you talk to Dr. York. I don't care if you said you got taught by the Lamb. You're not going to come over here and manipulate anything. You're going to stick to the letter of the law too,
That's
as
right.
long as I'm the president. You know what I'm saying? You're going to stick to the law too. And if you take oaths and you break them, or what's the other? I won't say his name publicly because I still like the brother, but he want to take Dr. York's name out of stuff because Dr. York got accused of these sexual crimes. And we said, absolutely not, brother. We're
Exactly.
not
We're not
taking his
taking
name
Dr.
out of
Your
these
name
books.
out of none of this.
None of yeah. He's the reason why we're here. So um, that don't make sense, man. That don't make sense. And so, unfortunately, as me and the brother, the Minister of Education at Netyerkhet, and myself, we've seen a lot of people come and go, and they come for their own agenda, or they come to reap the benefits of the nation, and they don't want to build. They don't. It is.
Nah.
I don't know what the problem is.
Man,
There can be
like I told you,
a
man,
pleth.
people just want cards and certificates to say they're a part of something but don't want to do no work. When you come to this side, You gonna take
Mm-hmm.
tests, quizzes, summary work, all types of class participation, reading participation. Because look, man, we trying to raise people up
Mm-hmm.
and to be more intelligent. And if you are Nuwabian and you come to this side, we could just make you better. You see, we not
Right,
trying
right,
to.
exactly,
We
man.
not
We
trying.
that curriculum's in place for a reason.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we don't want you to go out there and make a fool of yourself, because doctor, that would not be up to the master teacher standards. You go out there
No,
and
not.
oh, I got taught by the lamb, and then we ask you some questions. You say you're an imam, so we ask you the basic greeting in imam, and you don't even know it.
But you
So why
calling
would
yourself a
we?
high priest?
Yeah, it don't make sense, and so only devils deal in confusion like that and lies. Where I don't know where it says in the Bible, but it says if you see that spirit, test that spirit to make sure it's true. And believe you me, when you come over here, we gonna test you. We gonna test you. And if you don't know, I'm not saying I know everything. Definitely, I'm learning too every day. But I
Me
do know
too.
some things. And if you say that you're part of an order in which I'm part of, and Brother Netyerkhet is a part of, and we ask you the basic greeting, you don't know it, we're going to consider you not part of that order,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then we're gonna be like, well, brother, you just need to read the scrolls, memorize, overstand what's in them, and then come back for your testing. But a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people have a bad attitude toward that. Oh, I don't need to do this, and I was. But how come you don't know the information then? If you were there with Doctor York, people, the incarnation of Yanun, you was there with him in the flesh, and you can't tell me and you were an Amom, and he taught you, and you can't tell me the basic greeting in Amom. I'm gonna think you're lying.
I am too.
I'm gonna think you lying. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where the evidence takes me. You made a
And
claim.
then when you
I
ask
can't.
a person, and then when
Hmm.
you ask a person, well, can you produce your certificate or your card? Guess what they say? I lost it. How the hell you lose that?
Right, right.
How
How
did you
could you do
lose that?
that,
You
man?
must didn't
That
think it
means you
was
didn't
too
take him
much.
seriously.
Wasn't taking it seriously. Didn't think it was important
Mm.
enough back then. If you was in the AMOM in the 90s, hey, you supposed to have your card and your certificate in 2021. But you got them people with the excuses. Oh, I
Exactly.
moved and lost it, and or somebody threw it away. How you allow somebody to get rid of your material? I know brothers that tell me that their wife threw all their stuff away, all their AEO material. Brother in Greenville told me that. I'm like, why you didn't get it when you left? You know what I'm saying? The
Mm.
brother just left his stuff over there to get
Yeah,
thrown away.
he did. Yeah, he didn't think about it.
Wasn't
It didn't mean
concerned with it.
much to him. That's what it means.
Like a lot of these brothers and sisters
Exactly.
out there, this information. But see,
Hmm.
now you got this so-called new information for the Sabians with I wanted, you know what? I wanted to say, hold on one second. I got something else I want to.
Okay, okay. We'll hold on. We'll hold on. So, yeah, all praises to Anu. All praises to
That's
Anu.
right. That's right.
I want to say it in Nuwabic. It says, Kelal Tawuhu Ruanu. Yeah. So, yeah, man, it's a good build right here because there's a lot of I feel like deviation from Nuwabu to Wu Sabat, and I'm hearing brothers saying, "Oh, our Constitution." Sabians don't have no Constitution. If you read the cover of that book, it says the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors Constitution. That's who it's for. And if you know anything about law, your nation has to be exactly spelled as it is. So you can't take the UN and M Constitution and apply it to Sabians, because the word Sabian is not in the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors Constitution. Now there's 5 tribes named that basically form the collective of the nation, along with the organizations such as HTM, AMOM, AEO, which would include the Amen Institute also, or Amen Institute. But those are the organizations that make up the nation and the governing body. So, um, and that's just confusion. Only devils deal in confusion. I'm setting the record straight. They do not, and it's not like I hate. We don't hate Sabians. There's some cool Sabians. There's even okay. Let me put this out there. There's Sabians that don't even read the new books. They like we are. They just read the old books. And
Uh-huh.
I got some new books. You know what I'm saying? But there's Sabians that don't even read the new books. So we're not talking about all Sabians. You know what I'm saying? We talking about just the ones that we hear and the stuff that we see in the books that we don't agree with. And we're men, we're Nuwabian men. We have a right to agree with something or not to agree with something. We don't worship the master teacher. We walk with him,
That's
right?
right.
Because his his whole goal is to prepare the children, the 144,000, to leave, and those that get left are supposed to teach. But these brothers ain't into teaching; they're into following.
Mm-hmm.
So well, not all of them. There are some good teachers out there, Sabians too, um, but as far as we see, it's all financial. They want it all for financial gain. At least that's what I've been seeing and hearing. And but I'll get into the more of that later, you know. But I just wanted to touch upon that because I feel like a lot of people want to say something but can't. They feel like they can't say anything, and I can't remember what video it was with Dr. York. He was on the stage and somebody asked him, somebody's making a comment like, "Oh, Nuwabu, we feel like Nuwabu is like a neutral position, you know," and the brother kind of went too deep on it, and Dr. York's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." He said, I don't know where you're going with that, but Nuwabu is basically that that courage, that energy, basically to ask a question. It's that thing that goes on inside of the universe inside you that sparks you to ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Nawabu's a lot of things, but the way he answered the question was you have to have the ability, the will to make the choice to formulate the question and then to ask it. And if you're asking it to somebody who's powerful, then you need to be as powerful too, just to ask the question to this person,
Mm-hmm. That's right.
right? So that's what the knowledge and the meditation, the prayers, the affirmation, it's building you up, building up your temple to get you to ask the question. So for the
Yep.
fact that some of these brothers and sisters aren't asking questions makes me question them.
That's right. Now I wanted to read something here out of
Hmm.
first I'm gonna read out of the Noble Quran, then I'm gonna read out of L's Holy Quran.
Okay.
This is in the Noble Quran.
Okay.
This is chapter 2, verse 62. Verily, those who believe and those who are
Hmm.
Jews and Christians and Sabians, one. That's where I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna drop down here to the commentary on that word Sabian. It says 1, verse
Hmm.
262. A past nation used to live in Mosul, Iraq, and say La ilaha illallah. None has the right to be worshipped but Allah. And used to read Azabur, the Psalms of the Sabians, and they were neither Jews nor Christians. Now remember that word, Azabur, the Psalms of the Sabians. Now here in L's Holy
Okay.
Quran, under the original order, is chapter 87. The wrong order is chapter 2, chapter 87, verse 62. Surely those who are faithful and those who are of the tribe of Al Yahud, Judah, and the Aders, Al Nasari, followers of Messiah Jesus, and the Sabaen, the converts. So here in L's
Mm.
Holy Quran, Dr. York calls the Sabaean converts, and that's exactly what they are. They converted from Nuwabu to Wu Sabat.
Yep.
Now, Dr.
To Wu
York, this
Sabat.
book was written
Mm-hmm.
by, translated by Dr. Malachi York for the HTM. This is L's Holy Quran, and he said he called the Sabaeans the converts in this book. Why would Dr. York call his students
Mm-hmm.
and master teachers and leaders converts? Why would you want to be called that? See,
Yeah,
these
why
are
would you want
things,
to
these
be
are things that you
somebody
know
that
people have
converted?
not
Yeah,
studied. This is
they
how
just
you know
followed.
people have not been
And
studying. They're not studying.
mm-hmm. No, they not. I don't even think half of them know what a Sabian is.
Now they know now though. If they watch this video, they're gonna
Yeah,
know.
after listening to this, they'll know.
Mm-hmm.
Right, right. They'll definitely know after this.
But see, that noble
Um,
Quran, which
yeah,
is a religious book, said that they read the Psalms of the Sabians, but you come out with the Psalms of Yanun and the Proverbs of Yanun. That noble Quran
mm-hmm.
put the Sabians in a category with Christians and Jews. L's Holy Quran did the same thing. Only in
Yeah,
L's
yeah.
Holy
It's two
Quran, he
different
called the
people saying the same
Sabaean.
thing.
Only in the L's Holy Quran, he called the Sabaean a convert. Who wants to be a convert?
Not me, not me.
Not me neither, man.
But I mean, that's what they following. So I mean, look, just because I don't agree with it and I know it's not right knowledge, doesn't mean I don't respect those brothers, and Netyerkhet respects those brothers too. We just don't agree, which is we can agree to disagree. That's
Yeah,
I think people need to learn that. People need to learn how to respect one another. You know what I'm saying? Just
yeah,
because you
man.
don't agree with what I'm doing and I don't agree with you, it don't mean we can't hook up together on a higher level past our little two differences and get something done. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? That's what the unity is. And brothers and sisters have not learned that yet. And that's a frustrating part. We won't even go into our episodes with some of the Sabaean brothers, but that is something that stops the master teacher from being free. You know,
yeah.
people making comments like, "Oh, why are you taking the master teacher's symbols?" And those symbols, like Brother Netyerkhet had said before, those symbols came through Dr. York, not from Dr. York. You know what
That's
I'm
right.
saying? He was the first one to reveal it to us. And just because he's not here doesn't give people the right to act as Dr. York's personal agent. Why are you so mad that the master teacher? Okay, if you say we're still in his symbols, are you his lawyer? Are you his personal agent that legally made you to speak on his behalf? Hey, tell these dudes to stop stealing my symbols. But he didn't say that, right? Because he's not as ignorant as these people making these comments. He knows that the symbols came through him. Somebody's guiding. Yanu was guiding his pen. And I could see
That's right.
if we were using the symbols in an evil way, but we're just using
But
the
see, that
symbols as
goes,
he
that
intended
goes,
it to be used.
that also goes into the plagiarism thing. Because see, these brothers don't know the definition of plagiarize. Ain't nobody over here took none of Dr. York books and put their name on it.
Nope. Never
But to
claimed
me,
that
it
we
seems
wrote
like it's. But to
those
me, it
words.
seems like. But to me, it seems like people are writing books putting Dr. York's name on it.
Yeah,
That's what it seems like was
and one
happening to
brother
me
in
with
particular.
who?
Mm-hmm. What's his name? Judah L. Dr. Fahim Judah L.
Yeah, him.
Have you
Yeah,
seen him on eBay? Yeah,
yeah.
it'll be Dr. York's. He plagiarizing.
Yeah, he's plagiarizing.
Mm-hmm.
Our books say Dr. Malachi Z. York or Amunubi Ru Akhtar Atum Ray or whatever name the master teacher had prior to his incarceration.
Right.
We not
Yep.
writing books
Yep. Yep.
saying we not using paragraphs out of Dr. York books and putting them in our own books and saying we wrote the information.
Yeah. We're not doing that. So So the thing is, and it's not even the young cats that's saying this, right? It's the older people who are supposed to be wise and well read and taught by the master teacher that are saying these ridiculous things. And so I found the definition right here, on the computer of plagiarize. It's a verb, and I found this on Merriam-Webster.com, right?
Yeah.
So it says definition of plagiarize, transitive verb, to steal and pass off the ideas or words of another as one's own. Use another's production without crediting the source. Now, we have never written anything or claimed to have written something that Dr. York actually wrote as our own. All right. So there's another definition. It's an intransitive verb. So it says to commit literary theft, present as new and original an idea or product derived from an existing source. We ain't done that either. We're just reproducing the books as they were for the Holy Tabernacle Ministries or the AMOM or the Nation. That's all we doing. So, um, and then I'm gonna get into if Brother Netyerkhet doesn't have anything to say about that. I'm gonna get into some folks that join the Nation and were given ministry positions. And I'm going to call their names out, right? Because this is the day and time that people need to be called out. So we got the older Warren, and I'm going to talk about Debra Scott too. Now, the older Warren is a brother out there in Georgia, and I forgot what city he's in. We met him like a month ago, and anyway, I won't get into all that. But what I will get into his problem with me. He had a problem with me. I made a video talking about what the sister Tapa Jet has said about people wanting to keep the master teacher in prison. Now, if you care about the master teacher, um, that will make your blood boil a little bit, right? So it kind of teed me off, right? I don't want to use any profanity on the call. I'm trying to cut back on that period. Um, so then I talked with a couple people, right? And then I made a video about 2 weeks ago talking about how I felt about the situation, about other people's testimonies. And people have not rebutted what the sister Tabajet has said. So it stands. So her word stands as true until somebody else says, oh, no, I didn't do it. There ain't none of those people who are supposed to be part of the Sabian administration. They ain't denied or correlated or agreed nothing. They're just staying silent. You can't do that in the public opinion. You can't stay silent. So she was brave enough to come out and use Nuwabu to get that energy inside her to finally come out with the truth after all these years of people staying in the dark. They purposely kept people in the dark. And I think Dr. York's sister is the main reason why, right? So the older Warren didn't like what I said, right? So basically, he quit, y'all. He was supposed to be the VP, the Diat, the Udyewazir, Diat, and he quit. So I'm like, what type of what? Okay, you think and the elder Warren's like 69. He's not 15. He's not 20. He's not 25. He's not 30. He's 69 or somewhere around the 60s, right? First of all, we can't have people really that weak, right? In government, because people are gonna say stuff in government you don't like all the time. Look at the American politics. I mean, it's crazy, right? People don't like what people say, but they don't just quit. I might not like what a lot of people say, but I'm not gonna quit because I understand the mission, and I got good people with me, so I would never just quit. But for an older man who's supposed to be an elder and doesn't like one thing a 40-year-old man says, almost half his senior, right? I'm almost half his senior. But just because I think it goes back to something my daddy told me when I was real young. He said, an old fool was once a young fool. So I'm just gonna leave it
Yep,
at
my
that.
daddy
I'm
said the
just
same thing.
yeah, it I guess it's common, because we look for the elders to learn from.
Yeah,
We look toward the yeah, but we're not the elders that we've met are very immature, they're very weak, and I'm not against older people. I love older people. We're supposed to respect those who are older than us, but you have to give us something to respect. And um, the older Warren didn't want to get taught a man from Planet Risk in the HTM University because he said, "Oh, I got taught by the lamb and yada yada yada. I was on the land selling ice creams and but every time we hear you talk, it's about the Bible,
that's it.
right?
No
I
holy
didn't
tablets,
that
no holy tablets, no
n-
scrolls, no nothing. It's straight Bible.
straight Bible stuff. So I'm like, if you got taught by Dr. York in the flesh, he taught you about more than the Bible. He he talked about the Bible to get you out of the spell and to help other people. You're supposed to take the knowledge and help other people get out of the spell. But the older didn't look at it that way. He looked at, oh, his ego kicked in, right? Oh yeah, I got taught by the lamb, and who is this calling me about teaching me from man from planet risk? I already know that stuff. Okay, so this is how it goes in the nation in HTM. Okay, you know it. Take this exam. So we know it that you know it, and we'll have more confidence in you, and we could just skip you ahead, right? Because in school, right, if you're if you're an advanced placement student, you take a test, and if you pass that test, you get to skip ahead.
Yeah.
You might even be able to take college courses. Yeah, a freshman in high school taking because
My
you're that
daughter took my
advanced.
daughter took taking
So
college course.
that's right, because oh man, that's a wonderful story right there. The brother then raised the children up with Nuwabu, and they smart as heck.
Yeah, man.
Advanced, way more advanced than the average child in school. So
If you
that's a
gonna do it,
perfect
man, and
example.
you a Nuwabian, if you a Nuwabian and you got your children with you, and your child ain't off with the mama, or you the mama and the child off with the grandma or whatever, and you a Nuwabian, shoot, man, you supposed to have your children on the jaw. Your
You're
children supposed
supposed
to
to.
know something about it. They supposed to
Hmm.
know who Anu is. First and foremost, your child supposed to know who is Anu. The coloring books are great for
Hmm.
that. The Nuwabi, look, man, these little coloring books that Dr. York came out with was the predecessors of my daughter reading scrolls and my son reading scroll. My daughter 14 and my
Wow.
son 10. My daughter is 15. She done read 14 scrolls before she turned 10. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, man.
And passed the
That's
test on them. And passed the test on them. The last scroll she did was let's set the record straight, and she wrote an essay on it. I still got the essay.
wow. Hmm. See, that's what we need to do. We need to build these schools up. And if we don't have a school, and it's up to each Nuwabian citizen
Parent.
to teach the parent, yeah, parent, okay, yeah, more specifically parent, thank you. To teach your child. That's your duty. That is your duty. And
Yep.
that's why I'm saying with these older folks that just come in and remember I told you didn't talk to him, but one brother called and said, "Oh, I want the AEO clothes." So you called
Yeah.
in just to try to get some AEO clothes so you can front in front of other people like you know something. Man, we're not gonna send you no AEO clothes. Get out of here. Some brother from Florida. We ain't gonna send you nothing.
Nah, man,
This is
you got to join and participate before you get anything. You get
before
some
you get
books and
anything. That's right.
medallions and hats and stuff like that, maybe a t-shirt or something. But as far as the gear, like the ritualistic gear,
Mm-mm.
man, we don't sell that to the public free. It's like not free, but we don't
Exactly.
sell it
Yep.
to the public if you're not in with the
To
group.
non-members.
Non-members, yeah, that's the correct
Hmm.
word.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a brothers calling in for ID cards. Even before I was president, they used to call the former president. I'm not gonna say his name. He don't deserve that, but for the pseudo president, and tried to get ID cards. Prince York called in trying to get ID cards.
He tried to get the ID card
So
machine, didn't he?
it
He tried to get the
uh
machine, didn't he?
well he tried to get the machine. Oh, okay, because the former
I thought
president
it was
told
the.
me
I'm not
he
sure.
just.
I thought it was the machine.
Oh, okay. It might have been. It might have been. It might have been. But he wanted access to something, that the nation possessed, and we're just not going to give it out like that, man. See, the difference, I think, back in the day when Dr. York was the head of everything, um, he let people in freely because he was trying to spread the information. He didn't spread all the information to everybody. He had the triad and people he kept close. But nowadays, there's got to be more restrictions because of the mind state of Black people. And that goes into I'm going to talk about the sister Debra Scott. Okay, so she called in what was about a month and a half ago. She's out in Oklahoma. I'm not gonna give the city or nothing like that, but she's in the state of Oklahoma, and she called in because she heard from another sister named Nin Fatine L that the nation, the websites that the nation was in Arizona. So she called in. I don't know if she spoke to me first or you first, but
I think it was me first. I'm not
when
sure. I think she spoke to me first.
I think so too. I think she did speak to you first, and then I eventually spoke to her. And she seemed like a good sister, man. She was very eager, had a lot of stories about how Melchizedek, which are very, very questionable. I don't think they're true, but she seemed inspired by whatever she's seen, right? She said she's seen the green light and all this stuff. And she was given a ministry position, and I think somebody was in her head, somebody who didn't like the nation, didn't like what we were doing, which is okay. You don't have to like what we're doing. I'm not asking for your acceptance. I don't need your acceptance. My acceptance comes from the Most High, Anu, Elion, Elion, El, and the brothers that I roll with, that the nation rolls with. So I don't need somebody else who I don't know, who's hiding in the shadows because they're scared to come out. I don't even respect them. So let them keep hiding in the shadow like a roach, and I'll just stomp on them, right? But what ended up happening is I'll just well, I'll get into a little something about her premonitions of Melchizedek, right? So she's claims that she sees Melchizedek. Melchizedek guides her pen. Marduk guides her pen, and she had a nonprofit organization and that she didn't know what to do with, and she was waiting to meet good brothers like we are good brothers, and waiting for us to to build with it. What could we do with this nonprofit to feed the children and spread Nuwabu to the children also, because that's also food, soul food. Knowledge is food. So we want to spread the physical food and the spiritual food, right? So going back to her Melchizedek thing. So she actually went out to California to talk to some dude in Northern California named Atun Ray. To make a long story short, Atun Ray was like a crackhead. He was just in it to get some money, and he almost killed. He almost set up Deborah Scott and his other
She
brother
said they
Hamza,
tried to
who,
kill her. She said they tried to kill her.
yeah, yes, they tried to kill her. Right,
Didn't she say
right.
something about
Now,
Deuce York was out there with her too?
oh yeah, Deucer York, I guess around I don't know what year it was. Um, but he was in Oklahoma. She had met him, and he had he was going around giving faulty paperwork, right? Because he's part of this I won't even say Moorish because it's not fair to say Moorish. He's part of this sovereignty movement, this fraudulent pseudo law movement where people are just making up paperwork and all kind of crap, right? So he gives her some paperwork and says, "Oh, you're part of the Bird clan of the Yamasi," right? Which he has no authority to give anybody paperwork naturalizing anybody into any tribe. Not by Dr. York. I haven't seen the proof. So, and he was trying to go around to other tribes in Oklahoma because he knew tribes in Oklahoma. More 3/4 of Oklahoma is indigenous land,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lot of that land is indigenous, and so that goes, because I told her, I'm like, I don't know the brother Deuce. I've only talked to Deuce online. I haven't really. I only heard the stories about Deuce, and I know he's a criminal. Well, so was she. She was a criminal. She got arrested for grand larceny and did 20 years in prison. So, so her and Dusa hooked up and this paperwork, and she said, "Oh, I had questions about it. I thought it was faulty." And I said, she sent the paperwork to me, and I looked at it and said, "Yeah, this is not legitimate. This is some made up stuff, right?" So, so yeah. So anyway, continuing on from that. Um, so Dusa, she was hanging around Dusa, I think, for a couple years, and then she said Dusa just left and just went to Africa. And the only way he don't answer his phone, nothing, and but I think he's been doing stuff like that. So then she says, okay, so California, where the dude Atun Ray tried to set them up to get killed, and they were just gonna steal all their stuff, credit card, the car, sell the car, whatever. But somehow she caught on to it and they survived and went back to Oklahoma. Now, my I was a Nuwabian, that sparks up a question, right? For those in the AMOM that meditate on your Thursdays, you fast and you do the ritual, you know that Marduk, aka Melchizedek, would never have you meeting up with crackheads almost ready to kill you. That's I know that for a fact.
Never that. Never
So
that.
what Never. He would never do that.
Never.
He's the green light holder. Why would he do that? Yeah.
Why would he send you to a
So
place where you finna get murdered?
that
And
that
then,
sounds like
and then on
Satan.
top of
Like,
that,
mm-hmm,
and then on top of that, bro,
mm-hmm.
tells us that he sent her somewhere to get murdered.
Right. Had the nerve to tell us that. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, you see the mind state of some people. Some people can't handle Nuwabu because they haven't ingested it in sequence. Has the like it says in the tablets and in the Amom scroll, the mind must learn in sequence. She jumped around and now she heard about Melchizedek and green light, so now I'm gonna make it up in my mind that I seen the green light. But and I told my wife this before too. Remember I told Myra this. You think you're talking to Anu, but you don't really know who you're talking to because you're not well studied. So that
Yeah.
entity that you're seeing could not be on pretending to be Anu to lead you down some type of some negative, disagreeable path or evil path. And so I
Yeah.
think this is what happened with Deborah. She thought she was talking to Melchizedek, and didn't she say Melchizedek? She physically saw Melchizedek in a wheelchair in
In a
Oklahoma,
wheelchair, yeah.
and I'm like, how
How
does
you
that
physically
work
see
when
him and he was
Melchizedek
locked up?
and he
And I
locked
ain't
up?
never heard of Dr.
So
York
that
being in no wheelchair. All this time he been locked up,
no,
I ain't never heard him being in no wheelchair.
no sir, no sir. So I'm like, how does that even make sense? So I think I think she's out of her mind. Like, how Dr. Hero talks about people are literally out of their mind. I think
Mm-hmm.
she's definitely one of them that's out of her mind. Because remember when I told you she texted me and said that she wrote a long text. She likes to learn long text when she's angry or pissed
Yeah.
off about something and tried to tell me that we were plagiarizing. And I was
Yeah.
like, do you even know what the words, and that goes back to what we talked about before. Do you even know what the word plagiarize means? And she's 56 years old, y'all. She ain't like 25. She's 56 years old, damn near 60, talking like she's 10. So I'm like, do you know what the word play? See, this is how you know you're not. And she tries to say that, oh, I'm Melchizedek's daughter. Like she's the only daughter of Melchizedek. And I was like, I just let her talk. I'm like, yeah, sometimes I'm not going to argue with a fool. I'm not going to waste my breath. But, I just want to kind of drop some hints on her like, well, I'm a son of Melchizedek and Zoser's a son and there's many sons and daughters in this thing. You know, it's not just you, and then she was complaining to me when I called her. I followed up on that text. There's some things we need to talk about, right? So let's just talk about them as two adults. And she didn't even want to let me speak about the plagiarism. She kept cutting me off. So I said, okay, I'm not gonna fight it. Let her, because she seems like she was kind of worked up before I called her. I said, okay, get it off your chest. And she didn't cuss or anything, but she had some things she just really wanted to say to me, like she's struggling with raising three grandkids. And on a side note, I'm thinking in my head like, well, you put yourself in that position. The nation didn't put you in that position. Melchizedek for sure did not put you in that financial situation you're in. I said in my mind, and this is all in my mind, you're in that position. You want to know why? Because you was hanging out in the streets. You didn't listen to your parents. You wanted to be rebellious. Your daughter saw what you was doing, so she's in prison right now too, because she learned from her mother. And so, as your penalty from nature, right? This is your penalty from nature. Now you got to raise the three grandchildren. And she's like, "Oh, I'm not supposed to be living like this." And I said, "Then you wouldn't be living like that.
Exactly, because there ain't
Natural
nothing
nature,
happening that ain't
the
supposed to be happening.
right, right, and the choices that you made led you down this path.
But you
So
where you at?
don't you exactly where you at. You supposed to be exactly where you at. I'm not gonna fight it, and I don't think you will. You should start to make different decisions in your life that will make you more financially agile and more, and able to do things instead of getting jealous at what we doing, because we invested in this, right? Didn't nobody just
Yeah,
give us this? We worked hard at this. Um, so we invested in the things that we're doing to give back to the public or sell to the public or inform the public, right? Um, so she got jealous and said that we're copying Dr. York's books. And another thing is, why does all these Negroes think they're speaking on Dr. York's behalf? The pop said doctrine. You know what I'm
yes, the
saying?
pop
You
said.
don't speak
Dr.
for
York said.
yeah, he said this and said that. And even I'm not gonna name his name, but even his son was like, "How do you know my dad said that?" You don't know nothing. You're just talking. And see, I don't respect that. That's like dust on my shoulder. I just brush it off and I keep heading toward the mission. The mission is to build a community.
Yep,
That's what the mission is. So I'm
that's
not
right.
with these brothers and sisters that be saying that. You know what I mean? And so, going back to Deborah Scott, um, when we didn't hear from her for like a week and a half, and we're actually concerned with this woman, because that's the way we are. Um, well, next time we hear from her, oh, I quit. Another weakling, another weak older person
Man, people don't want to do
that
no
this
work, man. They want everybody to do the work for them. Like I said, they just want
right,
cards
like
and
the elder one.
certificates. I'm
Hmm.
this. They just want cards and certificates to say I'm a part of this. Don't want to put in no work.
Right, without mm-mm. Yeah. So yeah, because she wanted an ID card to help her grandchildren. And she wanted me to write a letter with the nation's seal on it, saying that it came from me. And she was going to give this paperwork to other tribes, even to the state of Oklahoma. And that's why I told her, slow down. Let's see how you do first, and then we'll talk about it later. Right now, we're going to table and defer this conversation to later.
So
Oh,
that's
that
why
pissed her
she left.
off.
That was the real reason she left me.
Yeah, she wanted some documentation so she could get some benefits.
When
She's a
she found out
welfare
she couldn't
baby.
get it, she left. Stopped answering the phone calls and
She left.
left.
Yeah, she just left because she couldn't handle the heat, which, she brought the heat upon herself. She put all the pressure on herself. I didn't put no pressure on the woman, So I'm like, nah, this isn't welfare, and everything over here that you get, you gonna earn it. You're gonna earn it. You're gonna go through blood, sweat, and tears. You're gonna earn it. And these people they're just not worthy. I don't care if you, like I said, I don't care if you said you talk with Dr. York, walk with Dr. York, like Elder Warren used to say, but we don't see that. All we see is
I mean, it's
an
good.
old
It's
neat.
good that people walk with Dr. York. If you walk with him and learn something, not just walking behind him and looking at
Right.
him and following him and not doing your own research and not studying the scrolls, man. This is the problem with people. This is why it's so easy
Yeah.
for people to fall for Wu Sabat, because they didn't have Nuwabu. Most people that studied them
Right.
scrolls
Right.
back
Right.
then
Right.
ain't with Wu Sabat.
Nah, they doing their own thing.
Either
They
their own
doing their
thing or they
own
was really
thing.
studying scrolls.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Because they're not teaching the brothers and sisters the supreme mathematics books.
Mm,
They're jumping straight into the actual facts. I'm up with
yeah,
those. Even let's say, well, I don't know if Doctor York ain't writing the majority of those books, but it's still coming from a higher level. And if you haven't walked through the schools before that, you're not gonna understand. You're not gonna understand chemistry if you don't even understand what an element is.
nah,
So if you don't know the scientific periodic table, which science of creation goes over, those are the basic learning platform to understanding the higher information. So if these brothers aren't sharing the foundational information, which is the supreme mathematics and HTM, then you're just up there talking for just recognition and self gratification.
that's it.
Because most people are going to have to keep coming back and asking you questions because you're withholding knowledge. You're a kafirun, right?
Yep,
Like in Ashurdik, you're a kafirun. You're a holder of secrets. You're a denier of secrets. So
still of the truth.
concealed. Yep. Okay. Yep. Concealer of the truth. Well said. Well said. And so I'm just so we're looking at the whole picture. We're really observationist. We
And look,
observe everything that's going on.
for you people out there that are interested in the HTM, look, you may think that we're hard or something, like it's not that hard. Just know when you coming over here, you're gonna have to do some work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're not
Yeah.
trying to
That's
make it hard. We're not trying to make it, because the classes are not that hard. But it's
nah.
just like
No,
people
they
feel
not.
like
They not.
the elders or the people that were down with Dr. York in the 90s, 80s, whatever, they feel like they don't have to revisit these scrolls. That's the word that come out of their mouth. Revisit these scrolls. You know what I'm saying? Man, you probably ain't read
Mm-hmm.
these scrolls in years, man, but you feel like you know it.
Well, let's give them a test.
Now, that's what you
That's
got
the
to do.
only
You're gonna
way.
have
I
to take the
mean,
test. If you can pass the test from day one, if you can pass the test, then yeah, we'll skip you.
we'll skip you. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I'll be happy to skip you if you prove that you can, that you know what you know, what you
But ain't nobody
saying,
did
you
that, man.
claiming
Ain't
you
nobody
know.
done it. Everybody
Yeah,
that
because
claimed
they
they
can't.
knew
They don't.
ended up leaving before they could get the test.
Yeah, we scare them off quick. I mean, we're not trying to scare nobody, but
I mean, just know
when you
you're gonna
come
do
with
some work,
false
man.
claims, like
Yeah,
anything in
man.
life, right?
Yeah,
To
man.
attain anything in life, you're gonna have to put in some work. So,
People want
and
stuff for
this
free,
is the
man.
fight for your soul.
They want it so they ain't got to do nothing. They want it just so they can say, "Oh, I got a card and a certificate. Look what I did. I did this. I did that. I am a part of I, and poke you in the eye because it's so much I just came out your mouth You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah, you're not even thinking about the order itself. You're supposed to make a sacrifice for the order. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? You're supposed to work like bees,
Because the
bringing the
HTM
honey
is a
back to the.
fraternity as well.
That's right. Yep, it is a fraternity, and that knowledge is for fraternity members. I mean, there's a lot of public books you can get in the HTM too, but if you're in HTM, you're going to be exposed to even more stuff on the private side. So, but you have to be worthy. Um, where did it say? I think in you in the ancient mystic order, I think it was the book of James 2:12, where it says those will receive you'll receive the crown if you endure to the end.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, these brothers and sisters, we snatching crowns off their head real quick because they cannot
Yep.
endure to the end. If they don't get what they want, like a little child, right away they leave. And I'm like, well,
Hmm.
that's cool. You're supposed to leave. I mean,
Yep.
that's your natural nature. I was reading. Remember, I was telling you I was reading that Nature of Nature book, and one thing
Yeah.
that did make sense, he said, if you want to know the nature of a person or a thing, you must find out the attributes of that person or that thing and trace back the history of that person or that thing by nature.
Hmm.
So these people are just they live in their own cycles of nature, which are six ether. I think they're six ether because especially with the sister Deborah Scott, she seen what we were doing and she got jealous, right? She said we're plagiarizing the book, which we're not. You've never seen the title of my name on the book, or Brother Netyerkhet, or anybody that's associated with us, with all of Dr. York's text in there saying, "Oh, we wrote it." Never. You've never
It's
seen
nothing
that.
like that.
So
Nothing like
no, no. So she was trying to get at something else, right? She was insinuating something else, and that what I take it as how I interpret it was, why are y'all copying the books? Why do you get to copy the books and I don't? That's the way I took it, brother.
Yeah,
Because
because look,
and
bro,
she,
for her to be saying we plagiarizing and copying books, she was doing the same thing, printing out PDFs.
yep,
So I mean,
yep,
what I mean, look, it's so
that don't
many
make
people printing
sense.
out Dr. York books, and
A lot, bruh.
it's a
A
lot of
lot,
people, man.
brother.
I
Yeah.
don't even feed into that information, man. If you want to say we plagiarizing, leave. I'm not even
Yeah,
gonna
leave
argue
if
with
it
you about
bothers you that much.
it. If it bothers you
Yeah.
like that, then
Yeah.
just leave, man. Cause we gonna keep going, regardless how many members we got, regardless who like us, regardless if you don't like us, it don't matter. Cause we gonna keep pushing. You know what I'm saying?
We're
And
gonna
we
keep
gonna
pushing
continue to
because the
do this.
mandate.
We on a mission.
Hmm.
The mission,
We on a mission, man.
the mission was mapped out in this book right here, the Constitution of the
In the
United Nuwabian
Constitution.
Nation of Moors. The
That's right.
Constitution of the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors maps out everything we supposed to be doing. Everything.
That's right. Yep. 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 And I'm actually on the website right now. Um, I was gonna read the preamble to our Constitution. See, a lot of people they don't know this. Even the Elder Warren said he said something about us as a nation. He said basically what are we supposed to do as a nation? Something pertaining to that. I said elder is all mapped out in the Constitution. That
Yeah.
that document created the nation by our Maku, um, our founding father of our nation, Dr. Malachi Z. York L. He put it all out there. And I'm like, if you walked with Dr. York, how come you don't know this? So so yeah, I
So
want to
let
read
me
this right quick if you don't
let me let me
mind.
read this
Okay,
before
go
you
ahead.
read that. let me read this before you read
Okay.
that. This is statute 7 under
Hmm.
hold on. Statute 7 on page 38 of the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors Constitution under unity. We the people must become one mind. No, we the people must
Hmm.
become one in mind, body, soul, wants, pursuits, and learn to live together as a family. Meaning, we have to drop our personal worldly pursuits and learn to live for, of, and by each other. For our future assurance, we must work together, cooperate, and facilitate the assets, qualifications, skills, and artistic abilities of those in our own nation to create stable, sound, productive, and progressive communities of unity. That's what we working on doing.
That's right.
But the people that's coming
Hmm.
around don't want to be unified as one. They want to be the one. They want to be the one, especially these
Right.
older. They want to be in charge. It's been
Hmm.
a lot of
Yep.
elders done came by wanting to be in charge, and they not here anymore. It's
Right,
like
because it ain't that easy. They
it's
thought,
not that easy. You got to
yeah,
do something,
they think
man.
they're just gonna come. Yeah, you have to, you have to show and prove, as they say, as the five
Yeah,
percenters would say. You got to show and prove. You can't just go, oh, I walked with Dr. York and I know this. Cool. Now let's see you put those facts into action and actually build something, and then we'll talk about it at the General Assembly meeting, right? That's why we have a General Assembly meetings every 10 days to discuss things like that. Because people will try to come at me, since I'm the authority, the president, they'll try to come at me and try to drop a little hint in my ear, like the Elder Warren. Oh, I remember when I was in the military, and then Soul City, the HUD Department of the United States,
yeah,
there was a project to build an all city. It's called Soul City, and I think it was somewhere in the Carolinas. I can't remember. I think it was somewhere in the Carolinas. 'Cause I did do a little research on it. I looked it up, and I'm like, so you're telling me this, so I'll tell the general body that, and if they agree on it, then it seems like everybody's working for you because you're the one who initially dropped the idea in the president's head. But I respect the older Warren, but he don't influence me like that. He don't
exactly.
influence me like, because I don't know you long enough. You're not just gonna walk in and say I walked with Dr. York and then instant influence, instant riches, instant. No, 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 no. You will work for everything that you get over here. Work, work intelligently though, not like a slave, but work intelligently because we are Nuwabians. So let me read the preamble. So this the Constitution of the Yamasee Tribe of Indigenous Americans, the United Nuwabi Nation of Moors. Preamble. The Yamasee Tribe of Indigenous Americans, the United Nuwabi Nation of Moors, in order to form a more perfect unity, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Your posterity means your children. Okay, I know a lot of brothers don't know what that means. Okay, so do ordain and establish this constitution for the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors. First and foremost, let us state that we are back on our holy land, Wahani, the golden city in Edenton, Georgia, which we call Kodesh. This is only a small part of our land. We affirm that to refuse to understand another's culture is to refuse your own. So I want to talk about that talk about that real quick because he says we're back on our land, and this is only a small part of our land, because we got land in Arizona too, and we're working on getting land in other places. So that's why the master teacher said this is only a small part. This is only where we start. This is only a start. This is not the end of it, right? And
Yeah,
and
but
another
you got
part
some
is,
people that say when Dr. York died, it's over.
then why would he write a constitution?
Yeah,
He should have put in the Constitution, once I die, this Constitution will dissolve. But he didn't do that,
he didn't
and
do that.
and he these I don't understand. See, that's the worshiping. They're still under the spell, brother. A
Yeah,
Leviathan, a King Goo. That's once you because that's saying, oh, once Jesus died, it was over. It's the same. It's the same type of mentality.
yeah, they
It's the
worship him.
same thing, man.
They worship him.
It's a religious, yes, yep, and worshiping. And they say that we're religious, and y'all coming out with books called the Proverbs of Yanun, the Psalms of Yad. That I mean, it don't get more Bible religious than that.
No, it
So
does.
I think they just, yeah, they confused a little bit. Let me continue reading. We must never be so small-minded as to hold prejudice, and that also goes between the Nuwabians and Sabians. Stop being prejudiced toward each other. Let's unite. We must instead seek to understand those who would attempt to harm us. Yeah, I won't even touch upon that. That we are that's already self-explanatory. The latter, not understanding that all peoples contribute to the diversity and richness of civilizations and cultures, which constitute the common heritage of mankind, and that any form of assimilation or integration by other cultures or ways of life imposed on indigenous peoples by legislative, administrative, or other measures are racist, scientifically false, legally invalid, morally condemnable, and socially unjust. Respect for indigenous knowledge, cultures, and traditional practices contributes to sustainable and equitable development and proper management of the environment. A written constitution compromises the fundamental laws of nature, which ensures justice, liberty, freedom, domestic tranquility, general warfare, and common defense. It compromises laws. It comprises laws governing the political, economical, and social foundation of a nation. The spiritual, cultural, and educational qualities are based on and depend on the positiveness of this nation's government, as well as the governments of existing indigenous nations, those said nation being indigenous peoples, and the Yamasee tribe of indigenous Americans, United Nuwabian Nation of Moors, governing also the individuals of that nation. That said nation being the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors. Now, it didn't say nothing about Sabian Nation of Moors or Sabian Nation. It said that said nation being the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors. Period. We affirm the fact that the Yamasee tribe of indigenous Americans, the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors, known as U.N.N.M. don't have to be freed because we were never slaves? Or would you rather remain what they term Indian, Negro, African American, West Indian, nigger, American Negro, or colored, and Nagaru? I'm going to throw Nagaru in there too because that's nothing but the word Negro or nigger, which are labels of the Union sociologists of North America, USA, who adopted the word slave from the term Slavic, of which it originated, for their captives. This is the very weapon which they coined to steal your birthrights, identity, achievements, and even zeal for life. The pains, the cruelties, the unnecessary murders, the lynchings, the castrations, the stealing of our land, kidnapping, rapes, the raw suffrage and torturing of our ancestors are still going on today and is felt today by us, their descendants, mentally, spiritually, and physically. These facts cannot be altered. This Union sociologists of North America, USA are destructive to us. Remember this fact. If the Yamasee tribe of indigenous Americans, the United Nuwabi Nation of Moors, were to present the written UNM Constitution to the United States judges and lawmakers in their courts and demand them to produce their written constitution to defy our written UNM Constitution, they must confine themselves to their written UNM Constitution in order to defy the United States Constitution. Now I'm gonna stop right there because he's gonna get into treaties and how our Constitution applies even in American courts. But you got to move the right way to do it. You got to know your language, know your laws, You talking about you Nuwabians and Sabians, you don't even know your laws, right? The law is not Patarak. The law, well, Patarak for Sabians is their law, but for our law as a nation, it's the UNM Constitution. So anyway, this defines who we are and who we aren't. And I just, just wanted to put that out there for the people. You could look at this document on UNM.net if you go under government, constitution, and then preamble. So yeah, so that's who we are. That's how we move.
Check.
And oh yeah, my bad, brother.
Let
You want
me
to go
read.
ahead?
Let me read something right quick. It comes out of is it black man's Christianity or white man's Christianity? Page 37,
Mm-hmm.
chapter 1, the origin of Paul. Question: who was this person? Saul, Shaul, Paul. Saul Shaul Paul was an FBI agent who infiltrated Yahshua Issa Jesus' followers just like they do today. They infiltrate the organization, and if they can't topple the leader physically, then they get into the organization, pretend to be members, and destroy it from the inside like they did many groups and leaders of this day and time. Some examples are Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, Clarence 13X, Elijah Muhammad, Yahweh bin Yahweh, etc. Referred to are their Black Devil Scroll, number 358 by Dr. Malachi Z. York, 33rd degree, 720 degree. You know the tactic. People join the organization and pretend to be devotees, work their way up under the leader, get the confidence of the people, and then pervert the doctrine, change things around, cause confusion, diversion, and conflicts amongst the followers until the original teachings become all but lost in lies. This is Saul Shaul Paul's tactic to fool the elect, just as Yahshua Issa Jesus mentioned in Matthew's 24:24. For there shall arise false Christs and false
Mm-hmm.
prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the
Mm-hmm.
very elite. You have been fooled. Saul, Shaul, Paul even has Negroes thinking that they are Gentiles. The letter P comes from B in Semitic languages, as in Saul became Paul. P is the change. It doesn't stop there. And Saul
Mm-hmm.
Shaul Paul's name starts with the letter P, and Saul Shaul Paul is an advocate of the five P's, the five principles, or the five P's that the five-pointed star represent are polytheism, the belief and worship of many gods; politics, the science of winning and holding control of government; psychology, the study of the mind and behavior of humans; philosophy, and explanation or theory of the universe based entirely on conversation and not necessarily facts; and penal. This relates to the laws and punishment. This system was established by Nimrod and laid down by Hammurabi. Okay, now back to this what I was reading before.
Yeah.
Now, people join the organization and pretend to be devotees, work their way up under the leader, get the confidence of the people, and then pervert the doctrine, change things around, cause confusion, diversion, and conflicts amongst the followers until the original teachings become all but lost in lies. Now, that's exactly what happened to Nuwabu. This did not.
Yep.
This what Dr. York put in this book right here, and he named all these examples of these people that happened to. Nuwabu was not negated from that. Nuwabu, that can happen to any organization, and it happened to Nuwabu. The same thing that Paul did.
Yeah,
It's
it did. It
FBI
did.
agents running with
Yeah.
Nuwabians right now. Whether you calling yourself Wu
That's right.
Sabat,
Yep.
Sabian, whatever, it's agents in that shit. It's Nuwabian agents. Not none that's down with us, but
That's
it's
yep.
some out there.
Yep.
I'm sure some done came
Mm-hmm.
trying to be agents for somebody else. The shit don't work because you're gonna have to do some work over here. If you an agent, well, you're gonna learn today.
You're gonna be a well-learned agent.
You're gonna be a well-learned agent because you'll get out of the
Yep.
situation real quick because you'll just be like, oh man, that's too much work, man. I can't spy on them. It's too much work. And that's what
Right.
I've been
Right.
and
Right.
that's
They
what
want me to
I
take
that's what I
tests and
trust is
read.
being with it. Huh? Say it again,
Oh,
bro.
there's a delay a little bit, but I was like, they was like, yeah, they want us to take tests and read, and nah, man, I ain't trying to do all that.
Yeah, that's how they feel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. These, yeah, agents and then people who just want benefits without putting in any work, man, without giving. They want to get without giving. So
Yep.
that kind of don't work either. So that's why we have to have rules in place,
Yeah.
to keep people like that out, to protect the doctrine, keep the devils out, and the Abebwo, and the P and the P and the B. That's why we don't we don't use any P's in our language. We remove the P from the Wabu. Everything that had a P now has a B, like a pep, a bep, a beb. That's we did. Then that's just an example of many words that were changed, and it's we don't do anything that the master teacher didn't say to do at the core value of Nuwabu. Now, this is a new generation that me, myself, and Netyerkhet, and all the other brothers that are in the nation. We have to keep it going, right? So eventually, we'll write books and teach others what we've been taught from people who are knowledgeable, and the books. It all starts with the books because that's where the explosion happens. That's where the genetic explosion happens. Is when you read the book, or if you learn to somebody who's well learned, like Brother Nancy Airhead, and then certain your DNA is going to start going off, like, oh, okay, I didn't know that, and you'll change forever from that day in the positive, and as far as nine ether is concerned. But most of some people that have been coming in lately have been exhibiting six ether behavior. You know what I'm saying? The bottom part of that smart circle, right? Uh, they're just they say all skin folk ain't kin folk, right?
That's
Their
right, bro.
agendas are different. Yeah, their agendas is different. They go against Nuwabu. They go against the nation. What type of fool says I'm being guarded by Melchizedek and then attempts to slander the nation? Well, Melchizedek is the one who created the nation, fool. So I
Yep.
don't logically this doesn't make sense, and so you know I'm just gonna leave it at that. This at my point of view, the stuff just doesn't make sense, and that's why I only roll with the chosen few. That's it. I'm
Yeah.
not. I listen. I listen to the Pamus Batu channel all the time, all the time. I like what the brother's doing. I forgot his name is Amun Reye. I actually like the brother. I mean, I don't hate people anyway. I can't name one person that I actually hate. There was one brother named Demetrius back in the day. I did not like this brother at all, but but that was back in like when I was like 20. But I don't hate nobody, you know. Um, and I think that's you can't really be a child of the Elohim with hate in your heart.
No,
It'd be
cannot.
very hard to actually. Yeah, but it's kind of hard to build with somebody who has hate in their heart, and you're not going to get picked up by the ship with hate in your heart, you know.
Nope.
So yeah, man, I forgot what I was going to say after that. I forgot where I was going with that, but at the same time here, oh yeah, Moon Ray and his channel, because that's where I heard the sister Tabitha speak, and she said some pretty profound things about a lot of people in the Sabian tribe or associated with Sabians that I've never heard a Sabian talk like that before. Because usually, I ain't gonna front my dealings with Sabians is like they want to hide in the corner, or they pretend like they cool with you, and then try to hijack you on a tribal call, right? Like they did with us, you
Yep.
know, and the brother Abdul Mario. They tried to hijack us and tried to come from the blind side, but it still didn't work.
Nope.
It still didn't work because we're Nuwabians. We're we're in Nuwabu. We study it, and so we're not one of these clowns that you talk to. We're gods,
Yep.
for lack of a better term. We're gods. So we don't fall for the okey doke. And so when you tried to hijack us, we just flipped it around and turned it back on you and start asking you questions about what you're doing.
Yep.
And
That's
the
exactly
brother
what we did.
Abdul, the brother Ab, exactly, and the brother Abdul sitting there complaining about, oh, why are you the president? Or why are you the high priest? You ain't no high priest. I said, man, you don't even know what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about. People voted us in. We're a
Yep.
small group, a small nation, and we have a voting process. That's how we got in. We got voted in by our peers.
But see,
That's
man,
how that
don't I
happened,
don't
brother.
think I don't think these other groups have no voting process or no democracy. I think it's just like one person doing everything.
Because they're worshipers. Yeah. So they got,
Yeah.
what's her name? Zakina, Dr. York's sister,
No, his sister name is
or
Wakia.
Wakia. Okay, I keep getting them mixed up. I'm sorry, sister Zakina. I keep saying your name, but I really meant to say is Wakia. And even on my other video where I'm sitting on the couch in my prayer robe, and I meant to say Wakia. So she's supposed to be running the whole thing, right? Because when I had put out that we had brought back the holy tablets, um, some brother, I forgot his name, he said, "Oh, did you get permission from New York?" I'm like, "New York? I've never even been to New York." I was like, I don't need permission from New York, brother. I'm a god." We roll with the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors, which is not in New York. So I don't know who's in New York. And then Mario tried to come on and say, "Oh, you didn't write the book." I said, "You ain't writing books either, brother. So you're just mad that you're not getting any money from it."
That's it.
And that's why you guys, yeah, that's why you guys want to hold control in New York. You got your slaves working for you, right? Because anybody who comes up to me and says, "Did you get permission from New York?" is a slave. I look at you like a slave. Like, "Oh, did
Yeah,
your
man.
slave master come to tell you to tell me that?" Or are you a man? Because a man would never say anything like that. "Oh, did you
Not
get
permission
permission
from
from New
nobody.
York?" Like, yeah, I don't need permission from nobody. I worked hard and we invested in getting the books back out there. That's it. Right. That's it. There's no other explanation. And plus you're not even in the nation, so I don't have to explain nothing to you. I don't
Exactly.
I don't owe you nothing. Right. So you go back to New York and you tell them that, you know. And then Mario tried to say this and that, and he's all, "You guys are religious." And I'm like, "Why are you so, first of all, let's go back to your vibration right now. Why are you so mad?
You
Why
know
are
they're
you?"
jealous,
Because he
man.
wrote
Jealousy
long.
causes
They
anger.
just
Anger causes grief. Grief causes hate.
Well said. Yeah. Yeah. Because I noticed it right away. I even see your aura through the computer, through your text.
Hmm.
And
Oh
his
yeah.
stuff was red. This brother turned red. Yes. He was red. I'm like, "Why are you so mad that we copied the books and we putting them back out?" I said, "Oh, I know why you're mad. Because you don't have nothing to do with it. And you ain't gonna make no money off of it." And he said something like, "I'm the only Sabian man to have seen Dr. York in the past something years." I'm like, "You think Dr. York really just want to look at your ugly mug for the last 10 years?" I said, "You have to be out of your mind to say that to me, man. And you're bragging about it." I said, "Come on, brother. Dr. York rather be free seeing everybody, not just you. You're
And man,
nobody. You're just a nobody."
these people have a god complex, man. That's
Yeah.
why. That's why, like you said, you got to learn in sequence. People got the AEO before
Hmm.
they had any AMOM training.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
to you
You're
got to
supposed to go through
dissolve the
AMOM
ego
before you get
before
to
you.
AO.
You got to dissolve the ego before you can be a netter. That's why the
Mm-hmm.
AEO is
Yeah.
totally different from the AMOM. But if you don't have the AMOM, then you're going to have the God complex. I've been through the
Yep.
AEO.
And
I
that's
know
exactly
what
what
I
ended up happening.
know. Yeah, that's what it ends up happening. If you've not
Mm-hmm.
had no AMOM prior training and dissolve your ego, when you get to the AEO, you're going to have a God complex.
Yep.
That's why the
Yep.
AMOM was first. That's why when he came out with the AEO, he was selling the AMOM and the SGL lessons right along during that time. Because you need it. People, we needed
Okay.
the AMOM. We need the AMOM. We need the SGL. We need these things before we become netter. Before we get to the point where we can have peace amongst everyone. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, brother. Yeah. Yeah. That's why he set it up like that.
Yeah.
It's exactly why he walked us to the schools and everything. But people want to jump straight up and just go straight to AEO.
Yeah.
And supposedly the word is the brothers and sisters. Remember when the fake president was around, and I watched the Pad to Rock because I didn't know any better back then. So I was
Yeah.
watching Pad to Rock, and they were all dressed up like elders. They would get up on the stage and they would read these Pad to Rock passages or whatever. And I thought that was us. I'm like, oh yeah. So I talked to the pseudo president. I'll just say his name was Saru, and he said that he said, oh no, that's not us. I was like, oh, why not? He's all, you'll know in time. You'll know in time. And then and now 5 years later, now I know. But supposedly all those brothers and sisters have been fired. Supposedly Dr. York removed them all because they weren't doing their job.
Yeah.
Supposedly,
Uh-huh.
that's what I hear. I'm not there, so I don't know for sure. But to me, it makes
Yeah.
sense
Yeah.
because that's the way they operate, though.
Yeah.
They don't do work.
It's
They
confusion, just
well,
like
I'm
it
not gonna
said
say
in is
none of
it
them.
black just like it said in is it black man's Christianity or white man's Christianity. Confusion. Uh
Hmm.
they change up the doctrine and it's all been covenant. It's just to be covenant lies after it's over with.
Right, 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 right. Hey, you know what? I was on Scribd today, and I found a document. I don't know who wrote this document, but it was about trying to get Dr. York out of prison, using uh, that sovereign citizen stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, everybody's just property. We just want to claim back our property, right? So I
Yeah.
want to. The first document is not that long. It's only 2 pages. So let me, because I want to read this for the people. Um, what's going on here? Okay, hold on for a second. Um, it would Adobe don't want to let me open it. But I got this other program that should. Okay. All right. So, okay, this document is labeled Notice of Intent to Repossess on Federal Property. This is how confused these brothers were, or just tried to swindle money out of people. Okay, so it says notice to the agent is notice to the principal, notice to the principal is notice to the agent, applicable to all successors and assigns. Now I'm gonna stop right there because this document is talking about that Dr. York is property. So they've demoted Dr. York from His Excellency, Yanun, and all the other titles that our master teacher bared, and they put him down to federal property because they're trying to do this sovereign citizen paper crap that never works.
Are you
And
serious
this,
now?
yeah, man, watch when I start reading. I found it on Scribd, and this is and this whole sovereign citizen thing started off from a racist white man, a separatist racist white man called Roger Elvick.
Yeah.
Please research that. All Moors should, black people, whatever you're calling yourselves, research that, because a lot of you dudes, it's getting you in trouble because it was in the laws of the races, right? That Dr. York talks about, I think, in Bible interpretations explanations. This type of thinking was not made for us, so that's why it's not working for us, right? But it takes somebody like me and brother Netyerkhet to bring it to the public and say, look, do you even know what you're doing? There was a court case where the judge asked the Moor, he was like, do you know where this philosophy came from? Because I think if you did, you wouldn't be doing this. Because the person that came up with it hate the judge told him the person who came up with this hates your guts just by being who you are and just what you look like. Hates you. So people are still lost, man, because they don't do their research. So all right, this is dated March 27th, 2016. The embassy of the United Nuwabian Nation, Yamasee Creek, Seminole, Washington, and diplomatic mission here and after referred to as UNNYCSW, makes this notice of intent to repossess for the express purpose of our appearance before the Federal Bureau of Prisons, USP, Florence 80 Max 5800 Highway 67, Florence, Colorado 81226 on the 27th day of March 2016 at 9:19 a.m. Let it be known and henceforth noted that this collection is done in peace, pursuant in accordance with international law obligations, the Uniform Commercial Code 9-609, and the International Convention on Maritime Liens and Mortgages as a self-help repossession, and there is no objective other than to collect said property 17911-054 without any breach of peace, which I don't really know what the hell they're saying. They're saying that they want their property, Dr. York, with no problems, basically. This communication in its legal written capacity is protected under international diplomatic communication, the law of international responsibility protecting foreign officials and diplomats. Liberian diplomat under number 003828804, still active as head of state of the United Nuwabian Nation, Dr. Malachi York, is being held in violation of his rights as an international protected person, human rights violation of diplomatic law inter alia. That's a Latin term. I forgot what it means. There has been a duty upon officials of receiving state, the United States, to refrain from all acts contrary to the inviolability of Dr. Malachi Zadok York, misnomer Dwight York, number 17911-054, on Sunday, March 27, 2016 at 9:19 a.m. We will arrive to repossess the White D York Bureau of Prisons number. I already said his number. If you have any questions, please call me, Sakar Aha Ahershu, within the next 24 hours, and his number's there. Uh, now, I'll read more, but I wanna pause because this is ridiculous, right? This is it's stupid. This is dumb. The Federal Bureau they would never respond to this. First of all, because the Federal Bureau on Prisons is not a court. It's an administrative function. It doesn't need a court to operate. It's already operating under the Constitution and statutes of the executive branch. So to say that you're going to come and get repossess your property, this is stupid. And this is the reason why Dr. York is still in prison, because you're trying to use UCC codes and say that we placed the lien on our property and maritime liens and mortgages. You can't mortgage Dr. York. What are you talking about, man? So anyway,
Yeah,
we
that
are
sounds great.
arriving to collect. Yeah, it sounds. This is what these some of these Moors be doing though. You know, that everybody's property. All you gotta do is place a lien on yourself, and they can't touch you. That's some made up stuff, man. That is never worked. You know, I asked these brothers, show me the case law where what you're doing works, and the judge says, you know what, these guys are right. Let them free. Never. It ain't never worked for anybody. Taj Tariq Bey or any a Dr. Ralim Bey. It ain't never worked for none of them. That's why when I asked Dr. Ralim Bey when what was his name? Terry from Georgia was still around. And I said, you know what? I can't really subject our people, the citizens, United Nuwabian Nation of Moors, on what's perceived to be a scam. But I said, if you show me proof from a judge, case law, you show me a case law where the judge agrees that everybody's property and you can just place a lien on yourself and that's the remedy, I'll let you teach the citizens of the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors. I never heard from the brother again. You know what I mean? So that lets you know right there, it's a scam. And people who pull scams usually hide in the corner. That's what they do. They want to not be
Exactly.
exposed. You know, they want to hide in the corner, man. But if you come to me, you ain't gonna be able to hide in the corner. All right, let me finish reading this. We are arriving to collect all of our belongings under this an administrative judgment recorded on December 28th through the Secretary of State for the State of Colorado UCC file 201-521-16980, as well as recorded in the county jurisdiction of the County of Fremont on March 1st, 2016, file number 936900, and also recorded with the federal jurisdiction on February 2nd, 2016, to the Department of State. And they tried to put in the tracking number okay, whatever, to the Secretary of State for the United States of America, as well as recorded on the UNNYCSW State of Nuwapia records, HTTP, and then the website name. There has been no administrative judgment. What they do is there's something called an administrative process where if you like if we're in a contract, right? And let's say Netyerkhet, you owe me money for work that I did for you. We have an agreement and stuff's not going right now. I would mail you a letter, right? It's called the
Yeah.
administrative process. And it's in the UCC. You can do this. So I mail you a letter giving you 21 days to answer my claims, right? And I'll probably attach the contract that me and you both signed. So I'll say, okay, you got 21 days to answer this or repay the debt, right? And you don't sign in 21 days. I'll send you another letter after 21 days saying, hey, you got 10 more days to the answer me, pay me, or you owe a debt to me, right? So after that, if you don't pay, I can take the copy of the contract that me and you both signed, and I'll say he didn't fulfill the contract, and I can go record it with the state, right? And I can place a lien on whatever property you have until you clear the situation up with me. So if you try to sell your house, they'll be like, "Oh man, you got a lien on your house." So if somebody says you owe them money, so before you get your money for that house, I would collect on it first, right? Okay, I think the brother just
I'm
dropped off the
here.
line,
I'm
but
here.
he'll be
I'm
back.
here. I'm
Oh,
here.
okay. 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 I got you. I can hear you. Um, so that's the way that goes, right? Because I'm well versed in all this stuff. Because I used to I fell victim to this stuff too, man. I fell victim to it
Yeah.
too. So that's the way it goes there. But to try to mail the prisons saying that we have an administrative judgment, you don't have an administrative judgment. And if you did, you would have it on paper from a judge in a certain jurisdiction and what the judge said that ruled in your favor. And then you might be able to present that to the Federal Bureau of Prisons. But even that wouldn't work because you're dealing with state jurisdiction and then federal jurisdiction. So it still don't make sense. So this is all crazy stuff, man. So okay, wherein this self-help repossession was granted in our favor by due process of law. That's the process, the administrative process I just explained, wherein a notice of maritime commercial lien outlining the outstanding debt, which there's no debt because a judge didn't rule in your favor, in which our property is being held for collateral for. According to Article 30 of the International Law of Responsibility commentary, a great variety of forms of economic or political measures are frequently sorted to and are considered admissible as countermeasures against international wrongful acts. Our presence and appearance in peace that day is for the sole purpose of collecting all of the collateral property that rightfully, lawfully, and legally now belongs to the secure party. This is something called the secure party method, and this is dumb. This is like this is embarrassing, and this is fraudulent too. They probably whoever wrote this should probably be arrested because it's nothing but chicanery. Chicanery is like legal trickery, right? They Yeah. So this is terrible. And I just wanted to read that because that's one of the reasons why Dr. York is still locked up. You know, you got this brother Sakar, whatever his name is. This dude is using a racist government, separatist, philosophical, legal paper to try to get Dr. York out, a Moor, an indigenous Moor too. So like the devil comes in many forms, y'all, and that's just one of them. This sovereign citizen thing. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out to the public and let them kind of digest that and leave I don't know, leave something in the YouTube video comments or something about that. Because yeah, we really do need to get Dr. York out, but doing stuff like that, that's not gonna work, man. That's not gonna work. And the reason why I got out of that whole sovereign citizen thing was because I asked the brother, his name is Yusef L. You'll see him on YouTube. Yusef, very well-spoken brother, knows his stuff, but he deals in fraudulent paperwork like the paperwork you just seen, or the paperwork I just read. And I asked him, because on his website, highfrequencyradio.com, he had case laws where, he's talking about the secret bank account and all that stuff. He had case laws where it didn't work, and he would say, "Oh, see, they did this and did that, and it didn't work." I said, and I believe, well, I don't believe I know about the law of opposites. So I said, if you got a case law that didn't work, let me see a case law that did work, where somebody actually won. And he was like, "Oh no!" He started throwing Bible verses at me. "Oh, the truth shall not be revealed." And I said, "Man, I didn't ask about Bible verses. I didn't ask to be
Yeah,
lectured. I asked you a question just to show me the case law." "Oh, there. Well, no. Okay, it's a scam. I caught you." And I just dropped everything because I'm like,
you
that
got
dude
it.
is smart. I got him. He couldn't say nothing. And I said, that's how these dudes make their money. They make money selling you packets. Oh, file this UCC 1, 3, or 4, or UCC 11 statement, or whatever they're calling it. Uh, you know, Mail it here and then mail it to the vital statistics. Then mail it to Secretary of State. Get your apostille, and then all for nothing. All for nothing. I said, what do I get out of this? I asked the dude who was helping me directly. I was like, what do I get out of this? How is this helping me? What can I do with this all the stuff I did? No answer. Nothing. So I said, this is all a scam, man. It's all a scam. The only thing that's not a scam is the United Nuwabi Nation of Moors, because
Yeah,
the UN says that under the Declaration of Human Rights, every person has a right to a nationality.
Yep.
Every human being has a right to a nationality. So that's not a scam. That's real. And I know that's real because we can fact check it and we could call the UN and tell them to validate that. And they have it on their website. So that's law. That's internet. And all the nations agree to that, or most nations agree to that. And Barack Obama signed on to the UN DRIP Act in 2012, right? So all the stuff the master teacher did in 1992, June 26, 1992, when we made our declaration for independence, Barack Obama enforced that because George Bush didn't want to sign on to the UN DRIP. So the United States wasn't part of it until Barack Obama came and said, you know what? The United States is now going to recognize international law when it comes to indigenous peoples. So Dr. York was like 20 years ahead of his time from 1992 to 2012, right? Because the master teacher could see the way that things were going. So he set it up for who? For us, man.
For
For
us. Damn
us.
right. That's right.
For us, man. Gave us our culture, he gave us a lot of stuff. He gave us everything. He gave us everything, man. So to turn around and to run away from this, I it's unconceivable to me. People say, "Oh, you got they're on the national terrorist." No, we're not. And I asked the dude on the Padmus Batu channel, I say because he keeps saying the United Nation of Moors is a terrorist organization. I'm like, how is that? What acts of terror have we committed? And he can't, of course, he can't answer that. And then I'm like, I looked on the FBI website, I don't see it. The closest thing to United Nuwabi Nation of Moors I seen on there was the United Blood Nation, which is like a gang in New York. We ain't no gang from New York. So what
Nope.
are you talking about?
They don't know what they're talking about.
So that's another tactic by the devil. That's the way I
Trickery.
see it. It's a bet.
Technology.
Yeah, it's tricknology. There you go. Yeah, because he telling people who listen to his channel that we're terrorists are only to keep them away from here, right? Until uh, we did the research and we're like, nah. And the Supreme Court said a year ago that the FBI terrorist list is unconstitutional. So now it's invalid. And I did a video on that. It's unconstitutional. They would have to do something else to target terrorists. They can't just put random people without due process of law, like it says in the 14th Amendment. Every person, now a person could be an individual human or a company, right? That's why you don't. That's why Noble Drew Ali said we're not 14th Amendment citizens. That means a second class citizen. We're part of the original Constitution, even if we're not treated that way, in which we haven't been treated that way. That's why we formed our own Constitution, which their Constitution grants the right of American citizens to write their own Constitution, and international law backs that up, right?
That's right.
So my bad, I got off track a little bit. I was talking about something before we formed our own Constitution. Um, anyway, but yes, we have the right. Oh, Moon Ray and his tricknology that we were talking about. So, I mean, if people want to follow, that's cool because Dr. York always said, um, investigate any organization that you join, right? Investigate, get the facts. You look at the United Nuwabian Nation of Mars, we're going to help you figure out whether you're going to make the right decision in joining us or not, right? And we want you to do your own research about Dr. York's case, what they tried to how they tried to slander our founder, our founding father. Not George Washington, not Benjamin. That's not our founding father. Our founding father is Malachi Z. York L. That's our founding father. They can have the Caucasoid ones. He don't look nothing like me. So how could he be my goddamn founding father? So so yes, investigate, do your homework, figure out who we are, what we represent. So you're not wasting your time
Or
and you're not
ours.
wasting our time in dealing with you.
Yep.
Because if you think we're plagiarizing, then don't even join us. Don't even wait. You're not going to get any benefits right away. You're going to put in work, like Deborah Scott found out. Yeah, we're not just going to give you paperwork. We're not Deuce of York. Yeah, we're not
Not at
Deuce of York.
all.
If you call us, we'll pick up the phone.
Hmm.
Rahu Bad Hin too, brother. What's going on? Right? Because
That's
we're
right.
men. We live up to our responsibilities because we're gods. And gods are able to respond to certain situations. That's our natural nature as a god. You know, so that's all I got to say about that. And the paperwork part, that's why Dr. York's in prison. Dr. York should have way better legal representation than brothers doing this.
It's
That
terrible.
just don't make. I mean, I can write a better affidavit than that brother can. I mean, that was terrible. It was horrible. And that's who's representing our founding father. That's why, man. Me myself, I'm gonna get more involved, but it takes a whole group of people that's gonna get them out. Like if we came as a into the court as a tribe, as a nation, with our cultural dress, speaking our language, like me and you talked about the other week, saying our natur, our pledge, in an American courtroom, and somebody brings our flag, then they gonna know we unified. Like, oh, okay, they're not just a bunch of Negroes pretending to be something that they not. I mean, these
Exactly.
people are distinct. These people are distinctly different from what you would call an American.
Yep.
So that was beautiful when we had a conversation about that. I was like, wow, I could see that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can envision it. I could, I can see that.
Yep. Be in that
Yep,
courtroom
yep.
and we start speaking that language and we pledge into our flag. They ain't got no choice but to give us what we
Hmm.
asking for.
Right, right. Our Maku, give him back
Damn right.
because he wasn't judged by his peers. He was judged by a bunch of foreigners who are all
Yep.
Caucasian. I think they're all Caucasian.
I don't even think did he.
So
That's crazy.
yeah, they were all Caucasoids. I'm like, how is that? How is an indigenous man being judged by foreign Caucasoids on our soil? And you call it a fair trial. Come on now. Ray Charles could see that wasn't a fair
I mean,
trial.
the trial was on a national holiday anyway. Wasn't nobody. The court wasn't even supposed to be going on when they had his trial, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
His
man.
court wasn't his court date on Martin Luther King's birthday or something like that.
Martin. Yep, Martin Luther King's birthday, MLK Day.
Yeah, so
Yep.
he wasn't even supposed to be tried. All that shit was illegal what they did, man. And
Yep. Yep. Yep.
any
Yep.
trial is
Yep.
supposed to be open for people to go in there and see it. But he had a closed courtroom
Right. It's
trial.
public. It's a public matter.
It's supposed to have been public, but it wasn't. And they did it on a national holiday. You know what I'm saying? So they broke
Yeah.
all
See,
kind
if
of
we
their
had a
own.
good
They broke
lawyer.
their own laws. They broke their own laws, locking up all master teachers.
Hmm. Yep. 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 And a decent lawyer should have caught that.
A decent lawyer would have caught
I mean,
that, but the
because
lawyer that Dr. York had was working for them. You know he was, because
was working for them. Yeah. Dr. York said,
had to be. Had to be. Because if you watch the
mm-hmm,
court case, that
had to
lawyer
be.
wasn't trying to help Dr. York.
Nah,
If you
he sure
lawyer
wasn't.
wasn't doing nothing,
Sure
man. They just
wasn't.
and then as big a mouth Dr. York had, he ain't say nothing in the courtroom. He nodded his head up and down, yes or no.
Yeah, man. It's just all kind of stuff happened with that trial, man. But that, legally, it could be thrown out
Yeah,
because,
supposed to be able to.
um, yeah, all you got to do is appeal the decision and put the processes that this judge followed. Um, he broke due process of law or the court
Yeah,
rules or whatever they broke, and at least he's supposed to get a retrial or or freed. You know what I'm saying? Now, okay, I'm I'm a, I'm gonna try to look this up real quick because I've seen Dr. York's appeal and what a judge said about it. Um, Trying to figure out what to put in Google here. Appeal case. Oh, here it is. The United States of America plaintiff versus Dwight D. York, 2005. On Justia. Okay, he's just naming off the charge. Restricted York. Okay, this is what. Oh, wow, this is what the judge said. Okay, so he's saying at trial there was substantial evidence that under York's leadership, the Nuwabians' lifestyle was highly restricted. York had many wives who served his purpose and personal needs. York's followers were expected to abide by his rules or risk punishment or expulsion from the Nuwabian organization. Men and women did not live together. Children beyond toddler age were generally separated from their parents, and children were separated by sex and age and lived in different buildings and rooms accordingly, which I don't even know if all that's true.
Yeah,
I don't think
I
it is,
heard
but
all kind of stuff about that.
yeah,
I heard
children
some
were
people say it go
homeschooled.
both ways. Some people say they was separate. Some people say they weren't separate. So I wasn't there. I don't know.
Yeah, me neither. I'm just reading this off. Children are homeschooled and usually interact with their biological parents only for specific short periods of time. I don't know about that. Several witnesses testified that York, both in Sullivan County, New York, and Eatonton, Georgia, as well as Athens, Georgia, engaged in regular course of sexual contact with underage children within the Nuwabian organization, including oral, vaginal, and anal sex. Some of the children were as young as 6 years old. I doubt that when the initial sexual contacts with York occurred. Certain of York's wives and older sexual partners, still underage themselves, help recruit or encourage younger children to participate in sex acts with Dr. York.
That's some
I
bullshit.
doubt that. Yeah,
That's
that's
some
some
bullshit.
bullshit. Yeah. Yeah, that's what they said, or witnesses, so-called witnesses. Additionally, there was substantial evidence that York owned and operated a number of stores and outlets throughout the country that sold religious and non-religious Nuwabian items. A finance office in Eatonton, Georgia, staffed by various Nuwabians, were responsible for collecting and handling the profits from York's businesses. So they all call it York's businesses. In addition to the sex crime evidence at trial, witnesses testified that York instructed the workers in the finance office never to deposit 10,000 or more in cash. That's all hearsay, and we all know that these FBI people were paying disgruntled Nuwabians to make up lies about Dr. York.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the jury convicted York on 11 of 13 counts in the indictment, acquitting York on counts 8 and 12. The district court sentenced York to the statutory maximum prison term on each count of conviction to be served consecutively, yielding a total sentence of 1,620 months incarceration. York timely appealed. On appeal, York raises several assignments of error, including one, the indictment misjoined the sexual abuse charges with the financial structuring charges, and the district court erred in refusing to sever those charges. Two, the district court erred in refusing to dismiss the RICO counts because the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors is not an enterprise under RICO, and because there is an insufficient connection between York's alleged acts and the Nuwabian organization. So, wait a minute. Count two, they're they're just saying that RICO cannot be applied to not to the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors because uh it's not an enterprise. And RICO, it must be an enterprise, an illegal enterprise that's flourishing, right? But United Nuwabian Nation of Moors is not an enterprise, so they're saying that's they erred in charging him with that, but they didn't say he was innocent of the alleged acts. They're just saying there is insufficient connection between York's alleged acts and the United organization. They didn't say he didn't do it. They just said don't connect it to the United Nuwabi Nation of Moors. Three, the district court erred in refusing to dismiss the indictment because the indictment was improperly returned by a grand jury tainted by pretrial publicity. Now that is true. That is true. And it was in the racist part of Georgia.
Yep, that's right.
Judge Ashley Royal is actually, I think, part of the Ku Klux Klan, so can't be no justice from a devil like that. Um,
Nope, not at all.
four, the hmm four, the district court erred in allowing the government to call a certain witness in rebuttal, and further erred by refusing to allow York to call his own rebuttal witnesses thereafter. Yeah, he didn't have a chance. Well, his lawyer probably set him up where he couldn't call another witness to rebuttal the first witness who's accusing him of doing something. Five, there was insufficient evidence to convict York of the charges that he transported minors in interstate commerce with the intent that the minors would engage in unlawful sexual activity, and further, the government did not put forth sufficient evidence to prove that any underlying sexual activity undertaken by York was actually unlawful. Six, the district court erred in denying York's motion to dismiss two counts of indictments because the minor victim was undisputedly over the age of consent at the time the sexual act took place. Seven, the district court erred in denying York's a continuance when York switched lead counsel approximately 2 weeks before trial. Eight, York's sentence violates the Sixth Amendment under the United States versus Booker, U.S. 220, 125 Supreme Court Reporter, page 738, 160 L edition. I don't know what L is. Second, L edition. No, I'm sorry. 160 L edition, second versions, page 621. Because the district court enhanced its sentence based on facts not reflected in the jury's verdict. Nine, York's sentence is invalid under Booker because he was sentenced under a mandatory rather than advisory guideline scheme. And 10, York's sentence violates the ex post facto clause of the Constitution because York was sentenced under the November 2000 edition United States Sentencing Guidelines rather than under the that last one is garbage. Okay. After careful review of the voluminous record in this case, as well as arguments of the parties in both their briefs and at oral argument, we conclude that all of York's claims we conclude that all of York's claims of error lack merit. Only York's pretrial publicity and severance claims, along with York's three assignments of sentencing error, warrant further discussion. So basically, they're saying we don't agree with you, but his pretrial publicity, which he was already convicted in the public before he's convicted in the court, especially if it went to trial and people watch what's on TV and it does influence them. Yeah, that makes sense. And the sentencing errors, how they sentence him, he said that's what we're going to talk about. So it says in late October 2003, the district court granted York's motion to change venue and ordered that the location of York's trial be moved from the United States District Court for the Middle District Court of Georgia to the United States District Court for the Southern District of Georgia, Brunswick Division. In its change of venue order, the district court first noted that the government has not objected to the defendant's motion. The district court then stated that it had grave concerns about trying to select a jury in this case in any division in the Macon and Atlanta media markets, and concluded that York could not receive a fair and impartial trial if the trial were to take place in Macon. Approximately 1 month after the change of venue order, the grand jury issued the second superseding indictment, the indictment on which York was ultimately tried. The grand jury was chosen from the same pool of individuals from which any trial jury would have been chosen if York's trial had actually taken place within the Middle District of Georgia. One thing I'm not hearing what the judge say is anything about him being indigenous. That's I ain't hearing nothing about that.
He ain't saying nothing about that
After
the whole time.
the whole time, yeah, even if it is moved to southern Georgia, he's still not going to be judged by his peers.
Nope.
Okay. Yep. So okay, so let me keep going. After the indictment issued in November 2003, York moved for its dismissal, arguing that if the trial jury pool was tainted by pretrial publicity as of October 2003, then it must follow that the indictment issued by Macon Area Grand Jury approximately 1 month after the change of venue order must also be tainted due to pre-indictment publicity. The district court denied York's motion, concluding that York failed to show that the pre-indictment publicity resulted in an actual bias or prejudice against him before the grand jury. The district court found that the existence of pretrial publicity by itself, or even evidence that the grand jury may have been aware of the publicity, was insufficient to carry York's burden of showing actual bias or prejudice in the grand jury's decision to indict. The district court concluded that the grand jury need not deliberate in a sterile chamber and that pretrial publicity alone was an inadequate ground upon which to base the dismissal of the indictment. With regard to his change of venue order, the district court drew a distinction between the role of a grand jury and a trial jury, pointing out that the grand jury is an investigative and accusatorial body unimpeded by the evidentiary and procedural restrictions applicable to a criminal trial. The district court then classified its earlier decision to permit a change of venue as one taken out of an abundance of caution and found that dismissal of the indictment was far too extreme a remedy under these circumstances. The district court's refusal to dismiss the indictment based on the pretrial publicity was not error, much less reversible error, much less a reversible error. First, our decision in United States versus Walden, 363 Federal Reporter, third edition, page 1103, 1109 through 1110 is controlling. In that case, as here, the defendant Walden argued that pretrial publicity prejudiced the grand jury such that dismissal of his second superseding indictment was required. Moreover, just as in this case, the Walden court recognized that case was undoubtedly the subject of much press in the Jacksonville area. Court case number again. I'm gonna skip over that. Nevertheless, this court squarely held in Walden that publicity is generally not a basis for dismissal of an indictment. We pointed out that the defendant's pretrial publicity argument misconstrued the role of the grand jury, which is an investigative and accusatorial body, unimpeded by the evidentiary and procedural restrictions applicable to a criminal trial. Uh, we concluded that the Walden District Court did not err in failing to dismiss the indictment on the grounds of pretrial publicity because the concern over adverse publicity is its effect on the fairness of ensuing trial and and not its effect on the grand jury.
Could
So
could we
I
not
want to
use
touch
that
upon
to get
that
him
for a
out?
second.
Couldn't we use that to get him out?
Well, what the
I
court
mean,
is
those
saying, since
mistakes,
it's a
those mistakes that they made, that the judge is talking about.
Well, it's just saying that that Dr. York moved from what was it Macon? Well, when he moved jurisdiction and they granted his motion because of the publicity about Dr. York, I guess in was it in Macon? Issued a grant. Hold up. I don't know. But wherever he moved to the destination, they're saying that the grand jury that the publicity argument is not really valid enough uh, to throw out
Oh,
the indictment against them because a grand jury is not a trial jury. See, a trial jury, the judge can instruct the jury to look at evidence or not look at evidence. But in a grand jury, the grand jury is basically the judge, the court, and the executioner. So whoever sits in the grand jury, they don't have to follow. Basically, they don't have to follow the law that the court follows. They could say,
mm-hmm.
"Hey, I don't like Dr. York. I think he should go to prison." That's all they need to say. That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
a grand
So
jury.
the a grand jury, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's what it says when he says the grand jury is an investigative and accusatorial body. Like if they
Oh,
accuse you of doing something, uh, they can sentence you.
hmm.
You know, yeah. So he's saying that the judge is saying that the publicity argument is. Oh, there go brother Muziuda trying to call me, but
He tried to call me too.
they're saying that. Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably give him a call a little later. But he's saying in the Walden court, which is a past United States versus Walden, that case law, they're saying in that case, as here, the defendant Walden argued that pretrial publicity prejudiced the grand jury such that dismissal of his second superseding indictment was required. They're saying the Walden court recognized that case was undoubtedly the subject of. Okay, hold up. Square here. Okay, the court said in that case that publicity is generally not a bias for dismissal of an indictment. So that's why it's important to read case law because in case law, they're setting precedent. And precedent, I forgot the Latin term for it, but precedent is something that the courts have to follow. Like if this case comes up again with the same subject, they have to follow the decision of the court and another case. They can't make up a new decision. They have to follow that. If it's the same argument, then the same result's going to come out. So this other guy, Walden, tried the same thing and it didn't work for him, and um, and it's not working for the master teacher here. All right, so I'm gonna. This is long. No, I'm not gonna read this whole thing. This is long. We might have to break this up into sections, but um, I don't know. I'm gonna go back to the beginning though, because we're gonna go back to the the errors in the court that Dr. York's attorney is saying, and I don't even think they're strong enough, right? Because they're saying error number one, the indictment misjoined the sexual abuse charges with financial structuring charges. So right there, you're admitting to sexual abuse charges because they're only arguing that they misjoin the sexual abuse charges with financial structuring charges, right? And it says, and the district court erred in refusing to sever those charges. So you're still admitting to sexual abuse, which I probably slap my lawyer if they did something like that. So
Yeah.
number two is this saying that they're refusing to dismiss the RICO counts under RICO, and because there is insufficient evidence between York's alleged acts and the Nuwabian organization. So they're saying that they hit Dr. York with RICO, and they joined it to the Nuwabian organization. Well, they should. I don't know what they're going to do with that one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because not the Nuwabian notion no more is not an enterprise under RICO,
Hmm.
and because there's insufficient connection between York's alleged acts and the Nuwabian organization. So, what did four say? The district court erred in allowing the government to call. This one they should have attacked. I mean, number four basically just says that the court did not allow Dr. York to question witnesses or give a rebuttal to what a witness is accusing him of. So,
Mm.
uh, denying the motion. So, but this man, this thing's probably like 20 pages long. I ain't gonna read it all right now, but
You read enough.
Dr. York should have had, yeah, yeah, but he should have had more indigenous. There's nothing about him being indigenous here. Nothing, nothing. This is somebody had to have set Dr. York up because
Yeah.
he's not being judged in his true capacity. He's being judged as just as a
A
U.S.
Negro.
citizen.
A Negro.
Yeah, like a Negro. Right, right. He's just being judged as an American citizen when he's already proven that he's part of a tribe through family.
Mm-hmm.
Through his stepfather.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So that this ain't right, man. This is some BS. This is really some BS right here. So I know we've been building for a minute, about 2.5 hours. So I wanted to go ahead and conclude this thing here, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
grateful that you came on the call, brother Netyerkhet.
It's
Uh,
no problem, bro.
really
Anytime.
enjoyed. Okay, okay. I don't know if you wanted to leave with anything or leave the people with something.
I just want to say to all the Nuwabians out there that is true. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing what you're doing. It
Hmm.
don't matter if you come dealing with us. It don't matter. Just keep reading the original scrolls, the original doctrine, because that's why it's called the original doctrine. That's why we call it the original. We don't say old. We say original. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're doing that
Hmm.
and you
Right.
getting your mind right, take care of your children, take care of the elders. If you got older parents that need help and you not taking care of them, you need to be taking care of them because all of these things are part of Nuwabu. So
Yep.
just remember that,
Yeah,
everybody
man.
out there in the listening audience.
We take care of our elders, man. As long as they do their part. I mean, I'm not asking you to work to death. Just help the nation, and that nation will help you. I mean, that's it. Um, that's it. That's all I got to say about that. I mean, we'll give a lot of people chances.
We
You
done
know what I'm
gave a lot of
saying?
people chances.
Yeah. We're not denying people just because we want to deny them. It's because of what they did and what they said was contrary to the nation's goals, and so we just had to let them go. It wasn't a right fit. So um, yeah. So yeah. So that's gonna conclude it. I want to thank everybody who listened to this call. I know it could be controversial, but things needed to be said. It's the time of truth, and I'm glad you're able to join us, and I'm glad Brother Netyerkhet joined us too. And
Happy
we're
to
gonna
be here.
wish everybody a beautiful day, and Wadu to the next time.
Why do?
All right, Wadu.